I'm in the middle of one of the Southwest's great mysteries, the San Francisco volcanic field, which is a sprawling landscape dotted with hundreds and hundreds of volcanoes, including this perfect, beautiful cone behind me that erupted as little as 4,000 years ago, which geologically speaking is like the blink of an eye. This is just one part of a huge landscape that covers much of the Colorado Plateau, and geologists don't actually agree on what's going on underneath our feet. Some people will say that it's like a hotspot like Hawaii, Iceland, or even Yellowstone. And as the tectonic plates are shifting slowly west, these volcanoes are getting younger and younger as the hotspot stays in the exact same place. We don't really know what's going on, but what we do know is that the Colorado Plateau is rising, and that means that this Southwest landscape is littered with volcanoes. So I'm working my way up a place called the SP crater, which is one of the more dramatic craters in this landscape. But there's like 600 similar craters that have erupted anywhere from a few 100,000 years ago to as little as 1,000 years ago, which is just kind of mind-boggling to think of how recent some of this activity is. And you can really see this lava flow that extends out for miles. It's very dramatic, it's very cool. And in many ways, this truly looks like an Icelandic landscape. This is Arizona. This is my backyard, the place I've called home for more than a decade. It is just wild to be out here exploring it. This crater that I'm standing on right now might be one of the most dramatic craters in the Southwest. It's got that super classic cylindrical shape, just really dramatic cone. You can exactly imagine where the lava would have flowed out from. Very cool, very dramatic. But it might not be the most interesting of the volcanoes here in the Southwest. And actually, that distinction lies to something a lot more obvious. It's actually the biggest volcano in Arizona. It is a genuine stratovolcano. Stratovolcanoes are like the Mount Fujis of the world. They're those perfect cones that just stick up out of a landscape. This one is different because many thousands of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago actually, it completely collapsed. It blew up much like Mount St. Helens, and just a huge amount of debris shot out into this landscape that I'm standing on right now. Actually, much of this landscape is at the elevation that it is because of this collapsed mountain, as it just shot debris all over for miles and miles. And so here's the thing. I actually want to go do something I've never done before. I'm gonna hike from one side of the San Francisco peaks through that blown out crater up to the highest point of Arizona and then down the other side. I'm going to hike through the San Francisco peaks. So I hope that you enjoy this adventure because I am totally geeking out about the geology of this area, and I'm gonna bring you along for the ride. Let's go. So I'm starting on the 15-mile journey from one side of the peaks through the blown out basin known as Inner Basin and Lucky Meadow, and then up to the ridge, climbing up to the summit for the morning sunrise and seeing the highest point in Arizona. So I'm just about to hike into Inner Basin, and Inner Basin is the ancient remains of this volcano as it collapsed. All of this land evacuated out into the desert, creating this massive debris field, and it's left behind this Inner Basin. This place that is now full of just incredible beauty, aspens that are turning colors, pine tree groves, and just some of the most remarkable geology and mountains that Arizona or the Southwest has to offer. Might be a windy day out here today, which especially means it might be a windy night up on the ridge. All right, let's get in there. So I'm about 4 miles into my hike. I've passed through a bunch of burn areas. I still got a ways to go. And one of the trickiest things about backpacking or hiking through a place like this is lack of water. And in fact, these were called the Montañas Sin Aguas, the Sin Agua Mountains, the mountains without water. There is just like almost no springs or natural water sources. And so I'm hauling 6 liters of water for this adventure, which is 12 pounds, about 12 pounds of water. So that's challenging, of course, adding another layer of complexity to this mission. Okay, you want to know something really cool? This is the aspen tree, and this is technically considered the largest living organism on Earth. Underground, all these trees are interconnected. This is technically all one organism. If you think about it like a hairbrush that's buried underground with the bristles pointing up through the dirt, that's basically what an aspen grove is. It's actually one thing growing all over a hillside, a mountainside, a whole landscape, and it's all genetically connected. It's all one thing. And that always just like completely blows my mind every time I think about it. So as I'm walking through all these trees, I'm actually walking by just one single aspen entity. That's pretty mind-boggling. Also, there's a lot of these inscriptions. If you're ever hiking through here, don't do that. These trees don't need your markings. Got a brilliant display of these aspens here. Incredible fall colors. We've got a breeze, and so every time the breeze blows, these leaves are dropping down. Feeling pretty magical out here. So I'm just getting into the heart of Inner Basin and this incredible, massive grove of aspens, or of one aspen, actually. So nuts to think about that. I mean, what is this? This is like a fairy tale. When I'm hiking through a place like this, it's hard. I got to remind myself that I'm actually still in Arizona. Like, this just does not feel like Arizona. This high country is so cool. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Arizona and its high country, well, this place is a land of surprises. Another interesting thing is, ever since the fire closed the road about 3 miles shy of here, this place used to be a circus this time of year. I've seen like 2 other people. You just gotta hike an extra few miles. So, kind of crazy. So worth it back here though. Okay, I gotta take a quick second to thank today's sponsor of this video, and that's onX Backcountry. I've been working with onX Backcountry for the last few months, but I've been subscribing to their service for several years now because I just find this map service to be the best on the market. I've genuinely been using it for years. One of the things that I think is really helpful about it is the best and easiest way to plan and execute your trips. So before any trip, I always am just browsing through onX. I am scouring these maps and just trying to figure out like where I want to go. I look at all sorts of information about my route, where water sources are going to be, the elevation gain, the elevation profile of a given trail. It allows me to go way more in depth than some of the more basic entry-level options that are out there. It is absolutely my favorite way to plan any backpacking trip or any mission that I'm going to go on. So if you want to get a subscription today, you can just use the link below, use my access code, and save 20%. Personally, I use the Elite membership and I find it incredible, but the premium service is amazing as well, and that's actually the service that I started on and used for several years. So it is an incredible service for most hikers, backpackers, climbers, mountain bikers, even skiers who want to get out there into the backcountry safely and plan your trips. So check out the link below, and thanks again to onX for sponsoring this video. Let's keep going. Man, it has just been such a lovely bit of trail here. I've done 5.5 miles of hiking, And I'm planning on going about 10 before where I camp / bivvy for the night. So I've made it up into Inner Basin, and that's the center of the crater. This is the center of all of this volcanic destruction. So you can see behind me, actually, Agassiz Peak, and that is the tallest peak in Arizona. 12,666 feet, I believe. You know, just to be in here is really special. This is one of the most celebrated parts of Arizona. It is just such a treasure to be in here, especially this time of year with the fall colors the way that they are right now. So I'm gonna be hiking through Inner Basin. I'm not allowed to camp in the basin. And then I'm gonna be going up onto a ridge where I will bivvy. I don't have a tent tonight. I've just got like this little sleeping bag sack that my sleeping bag goes into, and I'll be just trying to tuck into some boulders and stuff like that. So I'm going really lightweight. I think it might be really windy though, and I'm actually a little bit worried about that. Something that's really mind-blowing to me about this place is that about 20,000 years ago, there was a glacier in here. And that is crazy to think that there was a glacier in Arizona, and I'd be hiking through the same spot where there'd be crevasses and, you know, hundreds of feet of ice in here in the desert. I'll tell you what, Arizona is a wild place. Proud to call it home. So I was just looking at my map, and it dawned on me, I still have 2,000 more feet to climb today. That is equal to the amount of elevation gain I've already done today. Oh, I better get a move on it. That is a lot of climbing still ahead. So I've managed to just link up with the Weatherford Trail, which is one of the classic Arizona trails that comes kind of up and over these peaks. So from here, I still have more to climb. I'm out of Inner Basin, and I'm almost up onto one of the saddles here. In between these old peaks, these old ring mountains, ring peaks of the volcanic cone. The remnants of the old catastrophic blowout. Reminds me of that time I had some street food down in southern Arizona. Catastrophic blowout. Wasn't supposed to talk about that. So I just made it up to one of the saddles here. So I've got Agassiz Peak just off to the side of me. That's the peak that you can really see so well from Flagstaff. That pointy, beautiful peak that everybody looks at who lives in the town. But that's not the tallest peak. It's actually what's mostly invisible from the town of Flagstaff, and that's Humphreys Peak. And that is a good bit higher. It's really cool to be up here. It's just so pretty, and it's so lonely up here. Just starting to get where the trees are thinning out, and I can see into the Inner Basin and the spectacular fall color show that's going on below. Got the atmospheric colors in the sky. Very beautiful, seeing those hues change. It is so pretty out here. I've been working hard today. Definitely feeling it. Big physical challenge, but my inner geologist is totally nerding out. This is fun. It is so beautiful, got amazing light right now. There's even like a little bit of a smoky haze from some fire, which isn't ideal, but it's catching light very nicely. But wow, look at that Inner Basin. This traverse of the peaks is just so cool. I think this might be one of the best views and one of the coolest trails in Arizona. And that's saying something. Arizona has some special trails. But man, this is unlike anything else that's in Arizona. Oh baby, that's rugged and beautiful. Really starting to be able to see the like bones of the mountain come out. As I get up into these higher parts, why it remains is because it's harder. It's like more of the bone structure. It's wild to think about as I near the top that what's left, 12,600 feet, it was a good 4,000 feet taller, over 16,000 feet, which is mind-bending. That's a tall mountain. Oh, I'm having like the most fun. This is such a cool hike. Oh, wow. Oh my God. Oh man, just made it up and over. I got a little last lingering bit of sunset. As I'm looking west, there's a ski area below me here. I'm gonna follow this ridge to Humphreys Peak. Just as I got over the ridge, it got a good bit windier. So I'm gonna have to be a little careful, looking for protection. Wow. Today's been very cool. Like I have honestly loved it so much. All right, I gotta get some food in me. To put in perspective what I did, I've hiked over 10 miles, like 10 and a half miles. And I've climbed from 8,000 feet to 12,000 feet. So that's a pretty huge day. That's almost like hiking out of the Grand Canyon. Same distance, it's almost same elevation gain, but starting at 8,000 feet. So pretty worked. But I'm really excited about my cozy little night up here, tucked in the rocks, and then only gonna sleep for a little bit. And then I'm gonna be on my way trying to summit Humphreys. Yeah, this track that I hiked, so cool. So cool today.
Wind really picked up and shifted directions. I had tucked into these rocks early in the night, and it was great. This little bivy bag is working pretty well. But the wind is like whipping this around and thrashing me and literally moving me at some of the gusts. Because it's pretty strong. And that's just making it so hard to sleep. Got about 2 hours until I start hiking for the summit. Oh, good. A little rough here. Oh well. Good night.
Just starting out my climb again. It's 4:20 in the morning. And I'm sure you can hear it, but it is very windy. So it's probably going to be very, very rough on the ridge and the summit. Maybe as the sun rises, it'll settle down. Here we go. Well, that gorgeous peak over there is Humphreys Peak, tallest peak in Arizona, and the top of the ancient stratovolcano. Sun is just starting to come up over the horizon. I actually thought that I would be slower. I thought the light would be higher up, so I've been just kind of enjoying this wonderful view up here. Got a great sunrise happening. Atmospheric colors are stunning. It's windy, it's cold, but it's lovely. All right, let's get to the top. Last push. This is the summit right here. Let's go get it. Sun is just about to peak up from over the horizon. Got a nice pink glow. It's just really lovely ambient colors out here. So beautiful. Welcome to the top of Arizona. Well, behind me is a pretty spectacular view no matter which way you cut it. But it's a really amazing view, vantage point of the old volcano that just totally obliterated, collapsed, and sent all this debris out into the plateau beyond. And also, to the side of me, you can see the volcanic field that is just littered with volcanoes. And this is actually a much more recent volcanic activity region. There's been volcanic activity as recent as 1,000 years ago, which is just like crazy. So this is so cool. This is totally worth all the effort. Hiking all the way across from the other side, 15 miles. This is truly spectacular to watch the sunrise from the highest point in Arizona. That whole basin is just glowing yellow and gold. Those aspens are just lit up beautifully. God, this is awesome up here. So I am now standing in the middle of a ski piste, a ski run. So that is the magic of Arizona. We have it all here. This was such a fun trip to come and explore, and for me to geek out, like truly geek out about volcanism and just geology, and that's low-key something that I'm like really super into. So hope this was fun for you, and if you've got any questions about anything, about the trail, about history, about geology, whatever, hit me up in the comments below. I'll try to do my best to answer questions as I can. And that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching this one. We'll see you later, everybody.